Hello and welcome to hobby vlog number 126. It's been another week of hobbying, another week of taking it a little bit easier, and another enjoyable week of hobbying. Today and yesterday I felt quite lacking in motivation, and because of that I have started to try to tidy up some more projects that have been hanging around for a while. So in my painting last night I did a little bit more on the Candish King, which I will film when I've finished him, and I've also started clearing up some of the Middle Earth SBG models that I've got in my backlog half done, like some Black Dragon Knights from the Easterlings and also some Berserkers, which is really cool. It's really nice, and that's a good way, and that's why I'm bringing it up. It's a good way when you find yourself lacking motivation. I do a lot of hobbying, as you know, but yeah, if you find yourself lacking motivation, it can sometimes be quite inspiring to go and tidy up things that you've previously started, because it's a really good feeling, isn't it, to get things done. Anyway, there's a little bit of an introduction. We'll go back through the week. I've done quite a lot of stuff, as I've said, a lot of MDF bits and pieces. I had a fun week, and I really hope you enjoy this video, and thank you for watching. If you're ever wondering just how hard the grout, sand and PVA mix is, I left my pot in the fridge for too long. I thought I was going to use it, never did, and I'm now coming along. I've got just a spoon, an old spoon I use for various things, and I'm attempting to scrape this off, and I am putting all of my effort into this, and it is barely chipping off, as you can see. Very, very hard wearing, really good adhesion to this. You need to really actively dig at it. So there we are, just thought I'd show. I'm just cleaning this up because I'm about to make another mix. It does last quite a long time in the fridge. This has been in there for about a week, 10 days. So yeah, that's my mistake. Anyway, there we are. Really, really good hard wearing material for your basing and for putting onto MDF. Obviously, this is plastic, it's quite smooth. So it's even sticking to very smooth plastic very well. All right, so I'm going to mix up some grout and going to paint this bank, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix some blue house paint in with my grout mix, just to give it the colour I want. So I'm not going to mix up very much grout. I might actually need a little bit more just to glue that, but I'm only going to mix up a very small amount because I don't want to paint all of the houses blue. I want them to have different colours on them, and I've put blue paint on the lid on the roof. Oh well. So yeah, so I'm going to mix it up in the way that I normally do. There's a link in the description below if you want to see how I go about doing that, and then I'll bring it back and I'll just put some music on, and I'll paint up this in blue. Now I need to paint the clock face. What I'm going to do here is I have my white paint, as you can see, and I'm just going to probably take a couple of coats, but I'll paint it on nice and transparently, and that I think will give the effect I'm looking for. I do have the clock hands, which I'm going to paint gold or silver, one of the two, maybe bronze. And I'll glue on top of this, but first of all I'm going to paint this, whitewash it basically, and what I might do after that is come along and line in the letters again, or the numbers on the clock face, but first of all I just want to make it dark, make it a white background like that. So there it is. And the second thing that I'm going to do now is I have this, which is light chocolate colour, and I'm going to do a bit of dry brushing. So let's get rid of the white paint, bring over my paper towels, and get some paint on my soft bristled brush, and then come along and dry brush. And that will add a little bit of dustiness and a little bit of lighten up the whole of the build. I'll do this over the entirety of the building. The blue paint is drying at the moment on the body of the bank. But yeah, just a nice dry brush over the whole of it. It really does add a lot to the look and feel and the texture and the character of the building when you do this. And it's really, really quick, as you can see. I've already done this bit. So yeah, so I'll do that over all of the bank. Wait for the blue paint to dry before I do it on the main body. But there we are, just dust and what have you that's going on in a dusty environment, which is like the West. And what I'll do, I'll put another couple of coats of white on off camera, and then that's pretty much done. So I'm just going to dry brush this with the white chocolate. So put a little bit on my brush, take most of it off on a bit of paper. Not too much on there, and then come along and dry brush over the whole thing to bring out the edges, make it look a bit dusty. This is going to be quite a heavy dry brush because it's going to be down on the ground, and it's probably going to have had quite hard use. And then it'll be a case of coming in with some metallics to pick out the handle on the trapdoor. But yeah, dry brushing is great. Makes such a difference. So yeah, once that's done, get some silver for this handle here and for these little the little like pegs. That's the word I was looking for. Pegs there. And then that's done. So yeah, nice dry brush. Really happy with how that's looking. And I'll do the rest of the buildings as well in the same. Don't know how well this is going to go, but we're going to give it a try. So I've got some white paint, and what I'm going to try to do is paint in between the lines on the letters that say dry goods. Now I might need a smaller brush even than this. This is one of the smallest terrain brushes I have. But I think even this is too big, so I might have to go and get another brush. Otherwise I might go outside the lines and annoy myself. Never knew that when you're 42 years old near enough, you'd be worried about painting outside the lines, eh? Just goes to show kids, those paint by numbers things are good training. So yeah, get that done. Like I said, I think I might go and get a different brush, but I'm going to paint that with white paint, and that will look absolutely brilliant. Very pleased. What I'm going to do now is paint this building with white grout mixed with green paint, and yeah, I won't bother recording it all because what I'm going to be doing is this. But what I will say is, what I've found the best way to do this is to not splat it on the side where you're not trying to paint it, never mind, is to go over the whole thing and just go over, and when you get to the end, go back to the beginning, because this does dry really quickly, especially when you're spreading it so thin like I am, and you'll get a really good coverage if you do that. You don't want to do just one coat. That won't be sufficient to give it a good colour and stain it, but 2 or even maybe 3 times over, and you'll end up with a really nice strong covering that is good texture as well. So not just the colour, but also all the grit I put into my mix will be applied nice and thickly, and it will look really good. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do now. Just sit and watch some YouTube and do this, and finish and do this on the whole building. I'll do it all in the green. Really liking the idea of having some nice colourful buildings after doing all of those ones before that were just Adobe and all the same colour. It's nice to do this with some bright green and the bank in nice strong blue as well. Anyway, I'm going to get this done. I'll show you what it looks like when it's finished. The bank is looking absolutely brilliant, and I'm really pleased with the colour. I've also dry brushed over the top of the blue now as well with the same white chocolate, And yeah, just very, very happy. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come along and I'm actually going to paint the doors on the bank black, and I might go around and paint the window surrounds as well, but I'm going to do the doors first. Now the good thing with these house paints is they are a little bit transparent, which means you still get the detail of the paneling behind even when you paint over something like black, which is why I like using them. So yeah, so this is going to take a little bit of time, so I'll get this done and then bring it back and show you what it looks like when it's finished. And if I decide to do the windows as well, it'll just be more of the same, so there's no point in filming that. So yeah, I'll just get this painted up, and then it's going to be a case of painting on the numbers on the clock face, which I will show you me doing that, because I've got a nice little technique to show you on that. So yeah, I'm just going to do this as carefully as I can and get this painted up and look nice. Nearly done. One thing that's been bothering me a little bit about this particular building is that there's nothing going across the centre. I wish they'd split the rooms up. So what I've got is I've got some card here, and I'm cutting that out and I'm going to glue it in place in the middle. Now what I'll probably end up doing is actually using masking tape or something that will take paint to reinforce the corners. So it's not just going to be glued down the edges, but I'll probably also reinforce the corners. Now this is 5.5 centimeters tall, just about, and this section is 11 and this section is 10.5-ish. So they're not quite the same, and I'll be measuring that very accurately. And what I'll also do is exactly the same up here, but I'll probably put a doorway through these ones, because you've only got the one door here and then you want to be able to get through into these rooms. So that's my plan. I will get that done. Once that's glued in place and dry, then I'll look at painting the interior of the building as well. I was briefly considering cladding this with some sticks with coffee stirrers, but I've decided against it. I'm just going to paint the interior slightly different colours for each one. But yeah, pretty happy with how this is turning out. And yeah, hopefully this is going to give it a little bit more structure as well, because it was you can crush it quite easily, and that's not what we want. We want this to be able to be taken apart and not fall apart. So yeah, I'll get that done. I'll show you what it looks like once I've got it stuck and show you how I end up getting it secure. So there we go, that's all done. Actually, I ended up doing it slightly differently to how I said I was going to. Ended up recutting, and I did this on both sides, both top and bottom floor. So what I've done is I've actually glued it, and I'm bringing over the ground floor now to have a look. I've actually glued it to the uprights, okay? But on the ground floor, oh, dropped the signs, I've forgotten I had them there. On the ground floor, what I've had to do is cut a notch just here, which allows to go over this little cross piece, and that makes it quite secure. So I don't think I'm going to have to go for the masking tape that I suggested in the previous clip. I think that's actually going to be secure enough to hold it. And these I've done, and I've put PVA along the bottoms as well as on the sides, and that's now really nicely glued in place. So I've done the doors here, but these are 3 separate ones. So yeah, pretty happy with that. Again, let them dry, and then when that's dried, probably tomorrow I'll come along and I'll use the brown paint just to paint the insides brown, and then I can pick out any colours I want to on top of that. But it's going to be with the Winsor & Newton raw umber at first, at least. That's the first colour I'll do on these, all the insides, and then I'll maybe pick out some colours, like I say. The only thing left to do then will be to do the grout mix on the outside. I'm not totally sure on the colours. You can see here the blue is looking fantastic on the bank. Really happy. Next thing I've got to do, if I just focus over on the bank, you will see that the clock is looking great. I've painted it. I'm going to need to paint the clock hand and then stick it on. I'm just going to paint that in gold. And what I'm also going to do is I've painted the sign black. I'm going to take this downstairs now. I'm not going to show you me doing this. So I'm going to take it downstairs, use my Vallejo gold and pick out bank so that this has actually got a gold plated look, which I think will look quite nice. I might do it in yellow, but I think gold, because hey, I know they wouldn't have had gold, but I don't care. It'll look nice. But the whole thing is looking fantastic. And then I'll have to decide whether I'm going to paint the insides of this or not. seeing as I am painting the insides of this building. We shall see. Anyway, really happy with how these are coming out. These kits are just wonderful. They really do look brilliant when you put a little bit of effort in. I mean, not a lot of effort. It's just been a real, apart from some of the pain in actually assembling them, which is just how working with MDF is. It's you can hurt yourself a little bit. I did on the palm of my hand, pushing through and snipping some of the sprues. These are really good version, really good example of good PVA, good MDF kits. Well, I've just been working away in off moments through the day, and I've got the grout mixture put on the side of the final building here for the main street. I also managed to, the other day, I actually did use Sarissa roofing tiles rather than cutting my own on the roof, which is cool. And what I'm now going to do is paint the roof using this colour, which so I can't translate that straight on the top of my head. Yeah, sand, basically, dark sand. So I'm going to paint the roof with that, and then I'll probably do a little bit of dry brushing or what have you over the top of it, but I'll get that done. And then basically this project is finished. So we'll do a wrap-up video, a quick clip to show everything done when I finish painting this. I'm very happy with it, and I've been saying to Angela over and over, I'm just absolutely blown away by the value that this white box has given. I've still got 2 shrink-wrapped sets to work on, and yeah, it's just amazing. What I've got already would have been worth the money, and I'm only just over halfway through. So anyway, I'm going to get this painted, and then we'll glue on. The other thing I meant to show you is that I've been working away on the signs, just using white paint, and I've picked them out. So that's the one that actually goes on the front of this building here, and I've got the other 2, General Store and Barber. Those ones will get stuck on here and here, I believe, but I'm not sure. But anyway, yeah, so I'll be they're done as well, so they're ready to be stuck on. But I want to get the roof painted, then glue those on, and then it'll be a dry brush, and I'll be using the light chocolate to dry brush as I have on the other ones, and then I'll be back with a final clip to show all of these buildings together. Yes, another delivery, and yeah, this was inspired by the Kickstarter from Moonstone that arrived. I did a week of videos, 5 videos. You can check them out on my channel, going through the Kickstarter when it released. But this is an order I put in just after that. So let me pull out this packing material, which is going to make a little bit of noise. And let's have a look and see what I've got. So we have Boris the Bunny Summoner. I had to get Boris the Bunny Summoner with his killer bunnies. So this is an older model. We have the Outlanders. Now I think these are the new ones, potentially, yes. So that's pretty cool. We have a little bit damaged, hopefully not too damaged. I'll do a proper unboxing of this at some point. That's been dinged in the in the mail. The Masquerade, that's one of the newer ones. These are evil humans, which is a new thing they've just introduced. We have Black Powder, which is the same, another new box. Can't beat a bit of piratage, including Powder Monkey, which is pretty cool. We have, not sure what that is. Ah, yes. So we have Vespa, which is pretty awesome model, riding a bee, which Rosie's going to love. I may end up buying another one of those, one for Rosie. And I bought the clear wing upgrade for that as well. So for the time being, Moonstone is not immediately on my list for painting and assembling. So for the time being, these will go back in the box, and will go on to the Mountain of Opportunity. When I come to them, I'll do proper unboxings and what have you for each of the boxes, show you what you come in them. But if you want to see the quality of the sculpts, go and check out my videos on Moonstone that I did for Moonstone Week a couple of weeks ago. They are brilliant, is what I'm going to tell you now. Absolutely brilliant quality. And I'm very pleased. A couple of models here that I've been waiting for a while, and some of the newer ones. I am very far from owning everything. I really I need to play the game before I really go too nuts. I already have really gone too nuts, but there were a couple of others I'd like. But for now, that was a good order. It was enough, and I'm happy that it arrived. So they'll go on the mountain, and I will bring them to the channel when I get to painting them. So the big black Mack truck is coming on really nicely. I'm at a point now where I need to touch up some of the paint, and then I'll be putting the final chrome on. So that's basically finished. I'm really pleased. I mean, obviously I love the look of the truck. I've got the Hell No Girl, as I'm calling her, and a little doggy, which is finished. And downstairs is the male figure. I'm still in the process of painting him. Jesus, as he's called on the pack. But what I'm going to do now is start having a look at this kit here. Now this is the Joe's Power Plus, which is what I'm going to have as the diorama, and you can see it's actually going to work quite well. I think it's going to work quite well. I think everything should fit on it. I might end up having to put this onto a shelf, but I'm not totally sure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a quick look through the parts and look at the instructions, and then make a start. And I'll do the same thing as I've done with the truck. I'm not going to go through a build with me on this in full detail. It's just going to be too much, I think, to do that. Too much footage, and it'll get a bit dull and repetitive. But what I'll do is I'll highlight if there's any issues or anything I come across. Having said that, there are a couple of things I wanted to highlight on the Mack truck. When you're putting this together, there's a few times where, for example, when you're fitting the interior, it seems to suggest that you put the dashboard on before you fit the seats and all the control surfaces like the gear sticks and what have you. And I can tell you that I do not have an accelerator or brake pedal in there because I couldn't get it in, because I'd already glued the dashboard in, and then I was not able to get the pedals in place. Now you're not going to be able to see, it doesn't matter, only I know, though I do know I am irritated, because if I'd have realised, it would have been really easy to glue everything in and then finally glue the dashboard in once everything else was in place. And the order of the instructions is well, it basically pretty much tells you to put the dashboard in and then to glue all the other stuff in, which makes no sense. So that is probably, everything else is pretty good. It's quite hard. I've also glued the window down deliberately. Well, if you're going to do that, cut it, because the interior then became quite hard for me to fit, because the perspex, the clear perspex, is down to here, and that actually, the interior actually goes up past it. So those are a couple of little things to say about that. Other than that, it's been a really fun kit. I really like it. It looks great. It's exactly what I wanted. Just a couple of little bits when I've been assembling it. So yeah. Anyway, I'm going to have a look at Joe's Power Plus, start putting it together, and I'll let you know how it's going. I'll give regular updates onto the to the camera, and yeah, we'll just get this done. Cracking on. It's actually been quite a long time since I've worked on this, and yeah, I've been thinking about it. Now I've got lots of awesome plans for some clouds and what have you going on around the around the stairs, but what I've decided to do is actually come in with yacht varnish, which is very glossy, and make the whole thing very glossy. Now I might regret this, I might end up throwing it away or using it for something else. This may end up not looking how I want it to, but one thing I do like is playing with gloss and matte. So yeah, so I'm going to basically paint the whole of this gloss, and when that's dried, then I will add on a few details. I might put some more subtle colours on. I'm sorry, I've got a bit of a cold. Rosie is a beautiful daughter, but she didn't bring some nonsense home from school. Yeah, so I'm gonna paint this yacht varnish all over, and then when that's dried, I'll put some more colours on possibly, and then place the figures. I think I'm going to keep this quite simple. I've been looking at it, thinking about all sorts of fancy stuff I can do, like potentially lining the stairs with statuettes or what have you, but I think it would just detract from the main thing which this is about, which is Rahki and his girlfriend. So yeah, I'm going to stop filming now because I need to blow my nose. This cold isn't making me feel very sick, but yeah, it's very nosy. So yeah, I'll finish filming, get this all painted on, and then when it's got off, I'll bring it back for the next step. Well, I've had this for ages, like months, literally, and it's been sat waiting to be put together. What is it? I hear you cry. It is the printer enclosure for my Prusa, because I'm determined to get that 3D printer up and running. So it's a big, heavy box. came very quickly, delivered very, very quickly. I've not opened it at all. I'm not going to do a build video of this because it's going to be a bit dull to go through all of it, I think, but what I will do is do a bit of a summary of how easy I found it to put together, and a bit of a review of it once I've got the printer running in it. But this is what is in this amazing, awesome box, which has, as I say, literally been sat in my workshop for about 3 months. Let me see if I can find out when exactly it was shipped. Yeah, January the 6th. So a long time. It's 31st of March as I stand here recording this, so a long time since I received it, but yeah, gotta get it going. This is from Tukkari. I will pop a link, if I remember, to the website below, and I will let you know whether I like it or not, whether I recommend it or not, by the end of the video. Right, so it's near enough time to wrap this up. Let's get the final stages done. The varnish has worked really well, and I'm very happy with how it's looking. And what I'm going to be doing now is attaching this cloud, which has already been kind of sprayed blue and grey. This is the leftovers from when I did the flying ship build, which was a brilliant one. I walked past it and still marvel. I look at it and think, that's so cool. How can I have made it? Which is a really awesome feeling. Anyway, so what I've got is I've got some wire, and I've bent that into a U shape and put that. I've used this bit of dowel to bend it into a U shape so I can keep it to a roughly regular, and I can push that through, and you can see that then I'm going to be able to use that to actually pin this in place. Now I might need to, oh no, it's gone in well, good. So I can pin that in place. I don't even need to do any gluing with this technique, which means that in the future I can change it if I want to. So just bend it around like that, nice and easy. And then what I'll do here is the same sort of thing. Push it through and in, and that is going to hold that in place. If I can get it to go through. Right, that one I'm going to need to poke it with something a little bit stronger, so I'll just quickly get my bradawl and just start the hole off just over here. There we are, and another one there. There we are. So that now should go in, and then when this is in, I will glue my figures in place, and then it's done, and I'm very pleased. Still not started this campaign. Mate who's running it, Quinn, is still moving, so hopefully we'll start it soon enough. But let's just push that in. You know what, I might actually clip that to be a bit shorter. This is the risks of doing these things live, is you find problems and then have to fix them live on camera. So what I'll do is I will snip off another section a little bit shorter, like that, bend it around my wire, like that, and then that should now go in those holes okay. I obviously hit up against something a bit more, bit harder to push through than I want to. There we are, that's in. So now we've got our clouds. So what I'll do now is put her on top. I do have a name for her, don't I? I can't remember it now. I'll remember it. I'll go and look it up. And then Rahki is going to be stood down here. So I'll get that glued in place. I'll just use super glue to glue those two in place, and then show what it looks like when it's done. I'm back sooner than I expected. I picked this awesome bit of wood up a few weeks ago. Actually, it's been sat. I've been working out where I want it to go, and I've realised that I want it to go here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint that with PVA multiple times over the day to seal it up and make it not quite so crumbly. You can see that it is crumbly and there's bits of dust there. And then I'm going to glue it in place right here. I'll put a pin in. I've already checked the pin fits in the bottom nicely, so I'll pin that in place, and that will finish off the piece very nicely, balance it a little bit. I was a little bit aware that this area was quite empty, But I am going to now glue in place the miniatures while that is being preserved. Just using a couple of coats of water down PVA, and then I will stick it in place. I'll bring you along for that when I get to it. So let's get these stuck down with super glue now. So here we are in the lounge, and what I've got here is a heated propagator. So it's plugged in and it warms up, which is awesome, because what I'm about to grow is some Seafoam. So I bought the seeds off eBay. I had a really good experience. They got lost in the post. The guy immediately sent me replacements, which is cool. So yesterday I set this up, put some water in, and you can see that it's condensed out because it's warm, which is what we want. Sow indoors, surface sow very finely onto moist, well-drained seed compost. That's what I've got there. Propagate, ideal temperature 23 degrees, which is what these are about at. Germination takes 7 to 21 days. So what I'm going to do is sow seeds in each of these trays, and then I'll let you know how it goes, because Seafoam is very good for making trees with, obviously, and that's why I've ordered the seeds. So yeah, let's get these sown in and see how well they grow. I'll probably do a weekly update on the progress of my Seafoam. So I'll move the camera in, focus in on one of these trays, show you how I'm sowing them, and then yeah, I'll come back in a week. So these are tiny little seeds. So let's see how well this works. So take the top off, and then I've got a little tray, and I'm just going to kind of scatter it in. Didn't get any out that time. There we are, a little bit in. Just scatter a few in, like that, and then put the lid back on. We'll see how it goes. So I'll do that for all of the other trays. See how many actually get across. I don't see that this being 400 seeds, to be honest, but yeah, we'll see. And we'll come back in a week and see whether we've got any green. Well, there we are. That's been put together, and you can see that it fits really nicely on my bench. With there's the tent for the resin printers. This is where the FDM is going to be. Went together really well, actually very impressed. These little kind of things, these attachments here are quite fiddly. You have to put a nut in a little slot and then push the bolt through, but that was the hardest part of the whole thing. Everything else went together so nicely. It's a really, really nice kit. So I can really highly recommend this in terms of the assembly and in terms of how well the instructions work. Yeah, I'm pretty impressed. How well it works with the printer is obviously something which I'm going to be finding out as soon as I put the printer together. That's the next thing, is actually making the preset and put it in there and doing some printing. But yeah, I'm pretty impressed with how this works at the moment, with how it went together and how solid it is. It's quite heavy, so carrying around is a little bit not quite so easy. But yeah, it's really, really cool. Very happy with it. So next up, make that printer, put it together. I will put that on camera as well, obviously, and then we'll get it running, and hopefully I'll have some success with my FDM as well as I've done with the resin, but we shall see. I'm a bit nervous, but now I've got the enclosure, I really can't put off making the printer, can I? So I better just get it done. So I made a bit of progress on this. This is what the service station is supposed to look like, and I think I'm not going to build it to spec. If you're making a model of a service station, this is fantastic. If you want to have a really big diorama, this is fantastic. But pretty much all of this space, this is the front wall, all this space behind is going to be dead space in terms of the diorama I'm building, because what I'm building is the truck with the man and the woman talking out front. So I'm going to not build it on this base. That's what I'm going to do. I am going to make use of all the other bits and pieces. So here, this here is the base which has the petrol pump on it, and there's a few other bits and pieces, like there's a compressor and a jack and what have you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this front piece, which is cool, and I think I'm actually going to well, there's two options I've got. One option I've got is to make use of this plastic bit as it is and just literally throw the rest of the kit away, which is a bit of a waste. I probably won't throw it all away. I'll probably keep it and use it for something else. And I'll have that set at the back of my diorama piece with a little bit of a backdrop in here, and then the main part of it is going to be the front with the truck, part next to the fuel pump, and then the kind of interaction between the two people. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to try to use this as a template, but I'm going to make use of the parts that came with, paint this up, and then build a diorama on the front of it. So yeah, that pretty much is a decision made. So I'm going to put the base to one side. That's not going to be part of this build, and instead I'm going to make up all the other bits which are in these parts, paint them up and what have you. That's going to be the thing to do, and then once I've got all of that done, then I can set it out on its shelf, which is what it's going to be built on, and I won't be wasting all that space with things that aren't actually relevant for the diorama. So yeah, really cool kit though, goes together well, just not right as it happens for what I want, but it's turning out to have all of the bits that I want. These are all going to look really great, and they're going to add real character to the scene. So yeah, there we are, a little bit of a thought process. So I'll let you know how easily all the rest of it goes together when it's all done. We'll start painting it up, and then we can assemble the diorama, because all the other bits are pretty much there, apart from I need to, if we pan around, sitting in front of Rudolph, we've got the black truck. I need to matte varnish, or sorry, the gloss varnish him, because I've been told that the duck don't drive no matte truck, and frankly they're not wrong. Well, that was super fiddly. Turns out trying to build tiny things at the end of a hard work day isn't the best idea, because yeah, I wasn't concentrating and I broke a few things, but I've done enough. There's a couple more that I might make, but I think that's going to be enough to populate this scene. So we've got the front of the actual service station, and this here is the door which goes in that slot there, which I'm going to paint, at least paint the bars, I think. I'm not sure that I might even paint the bottom, leave the glass. And then we've got this is the sign, which will have the name of the service station. These are the petrol pumps which go into the stand here, and then I've got an oil drum, I've got an oil can that I broke, I've got a dolly for going underneath trucks, and a couple of pumps. So yeah, there's some hose as well somewhere around. I've seen it, I don't know that I've lost it or not, which is then used and is used on the pumps and also on top of this, but I'm going to wait for those all to dry and paint them before I try to stick any hose on. Now obviously I need to make the actual petrol handle. I'm not doing that tonight because I'm just too clumsy. But there we are. So I'm going to get this painted up and ready for the diorama, and I will bring you back when I've done that, show you what it looks like when it's painted. Not sure what colours I'm going to do. I do have all of the transfers. Oh, that's where the pipe is. I knew I'd seen it. There's a pipe. But I've got all the transfers as well. So Joe's Power Plus will go on here, and Joe's Gas, these go onto the actual sign. So yeah, so there's a load of transfers, which is going to be pretty cool to use. So I'm happy about that. I will get it painted up and then bring it back when I've done that, and I'm about to apply the transfers. So yeah, let's get this done. I've decided to do some clearing up of partially completed miniatures, and what I've got here is a load of, these are Middle Earth, these are Berserkers, Gundabad Berserkers, and you can see that I've got a bunch that I've finished painting, and they're actually based already, but I haven't, well, they're on bases but I haven't based them, and I've got a bunch here that have pretty much been finished painting, but I haven't yet actually clipped off and based. I also have two Gundabad trolls here. Are they Gundabad trolls? I think so. Ogres, Gundabad ogres, apologies. I have two Gundabad ogres which are in the same state. They've been painted but they've not based. Unfortunately I've only got one 50mm base, so I've just ordered some more 50mm bases. I've lost the other one, don't know where. It's been about 3 years since I painted these. And what I've decided I'm going to do is I am going to base these and get these done, because they've been sat on my shelf for ages, and yeah, that's just annoying me. So I'm going to make use of Luke's basing material, which means it's going to take seconds to do this. I will bring you back when I've done. It's not going to be able to base up both of my ogres, unfortunately, as I say, because I've only got one 50mm base, but I'll snip them off their stands, stick all of these ones onto these bases, and then use the quick basing to get them done. So yeah, that's going to be nice to get that cleaned up, and I'm going to get back into a little bit more Middle Earth. I have one more miniature that was in the same case, which is this is the Keeper of the Dungeons. You can see I've partially painted him but not finished, so he's going to go downstairs and go into my 20-minute painting pile. And yeah, you're going to see a little bit more of Middle-earth on the channel. I miss painting them and I miss playing them, so yeah, going to get back to that a little bit as well. So as part of my return to Middle-earth, I am going to open up and make Gwaihir The Windlord. Now this is one that I've got two of. Long-time viewers will know that the warbats, I ordered 12 warbats, Gwaihir and someone else, I think, and there was a whole mission with rubbish couriers losing packages, me saying send it back, the courier supposedly sending it back to Forgeworld, who sent me a replacement before they received it back, and both arrived at basically the same time. Like, you know, the second one sent 10 weeks, 3 months after the first one was sent, and they both arrived within 2 days of each other. So I have two copies of this. So one of them I'm not sure what I'm going to do with, but I'm going to make this. I'm not going to do a build video. I will talk through any challenges I've found. First thing I'm going to do now is open the packet and have a look what's inside, and then I'll give it a good wash in warm soapy water, because you always need to wash every miniature really before you do anything with it, because if they've got any mold release agent on there, then you'll be very sad when your paint falls off. So I'm going to get this open, take the plastic off the outer, we'll have a look and see what's inside. As you can see, it's still in its shrink wrap. I have not opened this one or my other copy, so yeah, and we're going to see this together. So I'll get the shrink wrap off and then we'll have a look. And there we are, plastic off. So let's have a look and see what we've got inside. So we have the picture. It is going to look great, this. We have a blister pack, which, if we open that, it looks like that's not sealed. So actually no, there's some sellotape. Let me just peel the sellotape off. There we are, that's the sellotape removed. So we have the body and the tail. Pretty cool. We have the Hunter Orc for the base, and the Warg for the base. Some slight breakages going on. We've got a foot there which is a little bit broken. That's a bit of a shame. Hopefully I'm not going to have a two-footed... Oh, there's the other foot, I think. Yeah, so a few breakages actually. That's not very cool in that. And then we have another blister pack, so let me get that out and take the sellotape off. 23rd of February 2021, that's how long I've had this. So, yeah, so inside this we got instructions. You can see we've got the wings, the base, and the scenic base. So what I'm going to do now is have a look through, see if I can find that missing toe, which is a shame if I can't. Get these washed and dried, get it glued together, and then when that's done, I'll come back and tell you what I've found and what I've learned. So yeah, going to do just get that done now while I'm watching some YouTube, get that washed up and cleaned up. Well, there we are, even a little bit of horticulture this week. Really hoping that Seafoam does grow. It's really good for making trees, obviously. And if it does, then that'll be coming to the channel with me both growing and using, which is really awesome. I've also, off camera, and it won't be on camera, I'm making up the next tranche of warbats. So I've got a load of those I've washed and I'm gluing together. So I'll be doing that off camera. I've already filmed basically how you put those together. I haven't yet actually published that video, the external video, so I might do that this coming Tuesday, I'm not sure. The other thing to say is it would be on Tuesday coming the time for the next Battle Games in Middle-earth video. Now I've taken quite a long break for making those. The previous magazine, the magazine I was trying to do started months ago, was making an elf tower, and I just totally lost interest in it, and so I've parked it. And I'm not going to do that one. I'm going to jump ahead to the next magazine, just going to leave that one behind. There's no point in dwelling on it. I wasn't enjoying it, so I'm not making it, and we're going to move on to the next build, which is Weathertop. So hopefully that will come out at the beginning of May, and we'll be back on track and start rolling on that series again, which I'll be really excited about. And I've got some really exciting plans for it going forwards, particularly June's video, so watch out for that. But anyway, that's a long outro. A lot of stuff that I didn't touch on in the vlog that I wanted to touch on about general hobbying. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you got this far, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's wonderful that so many people do bother watching my videos. They're long and not very well produced compared to most people's, but that's just how I like to do it, and so that's just what I do. So yeah, let me know in the comments below what you think. I do reply to every single one of your comments. I really appreciate every single one of you watching. Let's hope that peace comes to Ukraine soon. It's still horrendous over there, still a horrible situation, still very high in my thoughts. And to everyone out there, please stay healthy, stay safe, and stay well.